I'm so excited this morning to have back with me Scott Tipps. Scott Tipps is the president of the National Health Federation, and he was on with us before, and when we talk about the National Health Federation, the thing that I want you people to understand is this is a group that is trying to protect our food source. This is a group that is trying to protect us in many ways, and he is the president of the National Health Federation. So, Scott, welcome to the program, and tell us, if you would please, a little bit about how you got so involved in this, and then some of the things that are happening today.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me back on the program. The National Health Federation is the world's oldest health freedom organization, has been around for 63, almost 64 years now. I think in January it'll be the 64th anniversary of its creation. And it was created by a gentleman named Fred Hart. And Fred Hart started it because he had tried to cure his wife of cancer by non-conventional means. He used electromagnetic devices, which, by the way, the FDA was quick to jump on and to claim was a fraud, even though the real fraud in cancer treatment is chemotherapy, and is a $200 billion business today. The whole cancer industry is, and yet he tried to go against the cancer industry and ended up paying for it. Even today, we see it in the Wikipedia readings of our listings for National Health Federation, which is pretty derogatory of us. And, of course, thanks to the Wikipedia, Google, Big Pharma handshake and agreement, the Wikipedia listings go to the top of any Google searches. So you can see that as a strike against Google and Wikipedia. But be that as it may, Fred Hart was determined to do something about the FDA, and so he created, along with some other like-minded people, the National Health Federation. I myself got involved about 30 years later after it was founded, and I became a member, like most people do. They start out as a member, and then they volunteer, which I did, and then I now have been the president for, has it been 11 years? Yeah, about 11 and a half, almost 12 years now. And before that, I was sort of the right-hand man to the woman who was president of the National Health Federation for about 20 years, a woman named Maureen Solomon. And it's done a lot of great things. But one of the things that NHF has done, and you alluded to actually in the startup on this program, is that it helps protect and safeguard your food. And we do that through being a recognized, accredited member of observer delegation, they call it. But observer is kind of the wrong word because we're actually very participatory, but they call us observers, but we get to speak out at the meetings and so on, of the Codex Alimentarius Commission. That is the international body that sort of meets in semi-secret. It's not really secret because anyone can really attend. It's just people don't know to attend for the most part. But to actually speak out and actively participate in the meetings requires you being accredited either as a member state, like an FDA-type bureaucrat, or being a recognized INGO, International Non-Governmental Organization, such as the National Health Federation. Now, of all of the INGOs who are accredited by Codex Alimentarius, I would say only 5 or 6. I think they added one a few years ago. 5 or 6 are consumer groups. And NHF fits that bill, although, of course, we represent alternative doctors, chiropractors, and the like. So it's not just consumer, but it's mostly primarily consumer. So that's what we do at these meetings. And we, of the consumer groups that you could count almost on one hand, we are by far the most active and almost always the most vocal. Depends on the issue or the topic being discussed, but most times we are. So that's kind of that. And I am a food and drug lawyer, so through clients, that's how I came to know back in the mid-1980s about the National Health Federation. But our website is, anyone listening can go to our website, NHF, our initials, .com. So www.NHF.com. And sign up on our email list, join us, certainly, donate, probably, and in any event, help support our work, because that's the only way we get to these meetings is through people like yourselves making donations and letting us go there. And it can make a huge difference, because it's really from you to us and us to speaking out on behalf of 7 billion people worldwide, because the Codex Alimentarius is setting these food standards for literally 99% of the world's population. So that's 7 billion people across the planet. And if we aren't there, then who's there to speak out for you and me? It's Monsanto, it's Merck, it's the International Grocery Manufacturers Association. It's all these food industries and big pharma, big agriculture. That's who speaks out on behalf of the INGOs, again, with a few exceptions. But oftentimes, I've been speaking out at these meetings on behalf of NHF, and we are the only consumer voice in the whole room. Now, some of the FDA bureaucrats, especially the one from New Zealand, likes to stylize himself as the voice for the consumer, but we all know that's a lie from the pit of hell. They represent consumers like I represent Mussolini. So, in other words, not at all. And in fact, the New Zealand delegates and the Australian delegates are about as anti-consumer as you can get in those rooms. In fact, if you ever were to stumble into a Codex meeting and didn't know the first thing about it, but you could argue on a particular issue, all you'd have to do is listen for how the Australian delegate or the New Zealand delegate argues, and then just take the exact opposite position, and you'd be correct probably 99.9% of the time. In other words, you'd be arguing for more health freedom. You'd be arguing for better health. They support all the bad things, GMO foods, non-disclosure of GMOs in foods, aluminum in food additives, ractopamine and zolpadrol, that is vet drugs that harm animals and people. Full rein on that. Melamine in infant formula, dumb down infant formulas, cap on vitamin mineral levels so you can't get too healthy, certainly not to therapeutic levels, and dumb down NRVs, nutrient reference values, what Codex calls RDAs, all of these things. So these have all been supported by Australia, New Zealand, and, of course, other countries. In fact, if you go to that same website address I gave you, and you just put into the search engine, or go to the Codex list of articles, but put in the search engine, The Great Australian Health Mystery, you will find my article about how bad this Codex office is, that I wrote about 5 years and 4 months ago, and is posted on our website. And you see just how bad the Australian delegation is when it comes to health at Codex. Of course, that's not to let the United States, Canada, Mexico, or some others off the hook, because they are very bad. But what I rather suspect, after going to these Codex meetings for 19 years now, I'm in my 19th and a half year, 20 years, is that the U.S. uses Australia and New Zealand as kind of its point men to take the fire and the heat and launch some of these trial balloons on bad health issues and see how far they get. So that's kind of, in a quick nutshell, and I hope I didn't ramble on too long on that, but it should give your listeners an idea, or a better idea at least.
No, it does give us a better idea, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that, because not everyone understands Codex, and not everyone understands exactly what goes on at these meetings. And I know when we discussed this information last time you were on, it was a little bit surprising to me to find out exactly how those meetings are conducted. But I think what's even more important to me is these are the people, this is the body that is kind of making the rules for the rest of us. And from my perspective, to think that much of what gets said and done and comes to fruition, if you will, has the backing of chemical companies and the people that those of us in the natural health and wellness world recognize are the most dangerous to us. They're out there, and they're out there helping to create dogma, if you will, actually out there helping to kind of throw the blanket over everything and make us feel as though we are being well supported and well taken care of and well represented by them.
That's very well put, Kelly, and it is, in fact, what happens. In fact, the motto...
Okay, I need to interrupt you. We need to take a break. I need to interrupt you for just a minute. But when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. This is Power Hour Radio with your host, Dr. Joanne Conaway, and I'm visiting this morning with Scott Tips. We'll be back after messages.
This is Dr. Bill Deagle, MD of NutriMedical.com, announcing the breakthrough Red Deer Velvet DR. It delivers the protected building blocks of all organs and tissues, allowing your own stem cells as architects and engineers to regenerate you. Not since fetal life, when aging does not occur, has such an amazing NutriMed been available to help heal you and regenerate you. Anti-aging requires that you correct mineral, activated nutraceutical, and jump the gene defects and poor diet you have to deliver the cellular tools for regeneration. You must remove old damaged cells and replace them with your young healthy cells to wind the biological clock to a younger you. Order your Red Deer Velvet DR now at NutriMedical.com 24/7 or 888-212-8871. That's NutriMedical, N-U-T-R-I, Medical, M-E-D-I-C-A-L.com. Or call our order line 888-212-8871.
The Genesis Communications Network is one of America's premier broadcasters of captivating talk radio. We thank you for listening. Now, just imagine, there are thousands of people who are just as passionate about radio as you are. But what you may not realize is how easy and affordable it is to advertise with us. Radio commercials for your business could be heard on hundreds of radio stations across the U.S. every day. We can help you by creating an effective radio advertising campaign for your company. From script writing to producing your commercial, just like the one you're listening to right now. No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our responsibility. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
Do you feel like many of us? All the distractions in the world taking our minds and focus off what really needs to get done day to day? Well, Jeunesse has a dietary supplement called Mind to help with mental distraction, and it supports memory function. Go to GCNlife.com now to check it out. You're only at your best when your mind is at its best. Go to GCNlife.com or call toll-free 844-443-6637. That's GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637.
Power Hour Radio with your host, Dr. Joanne Conaway, visiting this morning with Scott Tipps, the president of the National Health Federation. And again, I invite you to get out to his website. Lots of great information out there. You can sign up for the email. You can actually donate, which is something that we ask you to do wholeheartedly. But again, that site is the NHF.com. So the NHF.com. That's the website, and lots of great information out there. Lots of startling information out there, I might add. When you gave me that article about Australia, I read it while I was on the break. I was like amazed at what I was reading. I could not believe what I was reading. And to think that there are people who are in a position to drive decision making, and this is where they're coming from, that's a frightening thought.
It really is. Clearly, Joanne, what is going on is that Codex likes to pretend that, it's all about health, even especially with its motto, and this is what I was starting to say before, safe, good food for everyone. But its real motto should be something more like more sales for industry or protecting profits for industry or the like. And what you were just saying about Australia is right on point. And it's actually frightening because these are people who are supposed to be representing, their respective constituents, but the reality is they represent special interest groups, which is really what these regulatory agencies end up doing. Even if they're created with the best of intentions, they end up falling into the pockets or the hands of the very industries they're meant to regulate. It's a truism of sort of the political economy and what happens. So it's not surprising that the FDA is working more for the big pharmaceutical companies than they are for the consumers, just like it wasn't a surprise when the Civil Aeronautics Board worked more for the interests of the airline companies than for the passengers. So this is the way it works, and it's especially true at Codex, where I can see it time after time. Now, there are exceptions, and at this last meeting, the one that just ended last Friday, so that is the last week of November, in Berlin, Germany, it was the Nutrition Committee, because, of course, the Codex Alimentarius Commission can't handle all of the workload itself. So there are various countries that will sponsor certain committees, and then they provide the chairwoman or chairman who will preside over it. They will select the city, and usually in their own country where it's held, so on. And so this particular committee, the Nutrition Committee, is hosted by the German government. They pick the chairwoman, and they set pretty much the agenda for the meeting to carry it forward. But you could see that the agenda was very much one that was industry driven. And I was starting to say there are some exceptions to the rule, and we saw that with the delegates from Bangladesh. These are the ones who deserve really special mention. Nepal, Malaysia, let's see, Peru was very good, as was Ecuador. And actually, this time I was pleasantly surprised to see Chile was quite good. Whom else? The EU was sort of a fence straddler, but they were generally generally good, but not always good, but generally good, the European Union. And the heavies you could always count on were Canada, United States, Mexico, and frankly all the Anglo-Saxon countries except for the UK, because it's, spoken for by the EU. So at least at Codex meetings and at least until this coming March. So in any event, but that's kind of where it's at. But clearly there's a lot of work to be done because there are a lot of people there who do not have your best health or my best health or any one of ours best health at interest.
Well, one of the things that happened at that meeting, or that was discussed at that meeting, was the definition of biofortification. And I have some real concerns about that because I know that Monsanto and Bayer and the chemical companies now want GMO foods to be included under the umbrella of biofortification. So when we return, I'd like to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about some of the discussion that went on around that. I, of course, do not feel like GMO foods should be included in anything that we consume, but I'd like to hear more about what went on. Stay with us. This is Power Hour Radio with your host, Dr. Joanne Conaway, visiting with Scott Tips. We'll be back in just a moment. Hello, Dr. Joanne Conaway here. Finally, we have it, and it's available to you. A safe, reliable, quality CBD product you can use anywhere. Extensive research supports the use of CBD for chronic conditions to include chronic pain, inflammation, stress, anxiety, and much, much more. This CBD product is not psychoactive marijuana or THC. This product is cannabidiol derived from hemp. Get all the health and wellness benefits of natural, organic, full-spectrum CBD in an easy-to-use hydrate tab. Use this product by simply drinking great-tasting water or dissolve the hydrate tab in any beverage of your choice and enjoy. It's just that easy. To learn more and get great-tasting CBD along with special discounts, go to phrcbd.com. That's phrcbd.com right now, or call 800-405-1607, 800-405-1607.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
Former President George H.W. Bush continues to lie in state in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda, where people have been coming from all over the nation and the world to pay their respects to Bush 41. This woman's in from Massachusetts.
He comes from a generation of people that treat people like people, and it's just wonderful.
At a ceremony yesterday, Vice President Mike Pence called George H.W. Bush a good man who exemplified kindness and modesty. Prince Charles will come to Washington tomorrow to represent Queen Elizabeth at the 41st President's funeral at the National Cathedral. Officials in California now say the number of people confirmed dead from last month's Camp Fire is 85, not 88 as previously reported. The number of missing list is also now down to 11. And you're listening to USA Radio News.
What's on your bucket list? Running a marathon, hiking to the top of a mountain, or maybe surfing? What if I told you can accomplish all of it at any age? This is Wayne Allen Root, and I'd like to introduce you to somebody that's changed my life, made me feel years younger, maybe saved my life, my Cenegenics physician, Dr. Bob Letta.
Thanks for the introduction, Wayne. At Cenegenics, we help people look and feel many years younger. We've been in business since 1997. We have locations across the United States, and we've treated over 35,000 patients worldwide. Our age management medicine is proven to work. On the Cenegenics program, you will have your own doctor, exercise counselor, and nutritionist all working together to fine-tune plans especially for you.
Thank you, Dr. Letta. I'm 57 and I feel like I'm 30 again. I feel the best of my life. I have the most energy of my life. Are you ready to start feeling the best of your life? Defy your age with Cenegenics. Call now for your free consultation at 888-YOUNGER. That's toll-free 888-YOUNGER. Or go to Cenegenics.com.
My doctor makes more informed decisions prescribing my blood pressure medications based on the data I presented to him on the Smart BP app.
That's one.
Smart BP can export a colorful, detailed blood pressure report that I can bring to my doctor.
That's two.
Smart BP is easy to use and intuitive, and the features on the free version are very generous.
And that's just 3 of the thousands of 5-star reviews of Smart BP, a new blood pressure tracking smartphone app from Evolve Medical Systems. Smart BP is the only app designed for ease of use and seamless connectivity to help manage your blood pressure and keep track of your health at your fingertips. With Smart BP, you can automatically sync your blood pressure measurements through Apple Health and Microsoft Health Vault. Connect with Apple Watch. Easily print and share detailed reports with your doctor, plus many more features. Smart BP is free and available both on Apple and Android devices. And be sure to search the App Store for Smart Blood Pressure from Evolve Medical Systems. That's Smart BP from Evolve Medical Systems, the Smart Blood Pressure Tracker.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. The IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Listening to Power Hour Radio with your host, Dr. Joanne Conaway, visiting this morning with Scott Tipps, the president of the National Health Federation. And, Scott, we were talking about the meeting that took place last week, and one of the things that I wanted you to discuss with us a little bit is the fact that I guess it's Monsanto wants biofortification to encompass everything, including genetic modification and recombinant DNA technology. Now, from my perspective, anyone who is of sound mind would say that's ridiculous. But, of course, we know that that's not what it's all about. Certainly that's not what it's all about. It's about the control, and it's about the big business and big money. And at least in this area, what they're trying to do is hide from people the fact that there might be genetically modified components in the food. Now, we know that in this country, the battle was fought, and we weren't so successful trying to label genetically modified foods. But what they're trying to do is actually hide the genetic modification to be able to get some of these foods into countries where genetically modified foods are not accepted. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, the regulators in those countries or regions like the European Union will be onto it because of, of course, participation here at the Codex meetings. But still, there are ways to get them in. And at the very least, there's a lot cross-border leakage of foods and food items. And if they're labeled by, and in Europe it means one thing, but that is non-GMO. But in the U.S. and Canada it means another thing, that is, it could be GMO, and most likely is. Then when people just see the biofortified label, which sounds really nice, biofortified, who wouldn't want to eat that? Well, they won't realize that they're being made the victim of the biggest marketing deception we've seen in years, maybe even decades, and here it is. And so it's just like you said, Joanne, it's just a case of where the public is being fooled again, and they're trying to push their shoddy goods and actually their unhealthy goods under a nice, new, crisp name, in this case, biofortification.
So was there any absolute determination made?
Kind of yes and kind of no, but more no. What they did is they had their definition where they have in it that any member state, that is, they call it competent jurisdiction or competent authorities, can decide whether GMOs will be included or not. So, of course, the EU will say no. Switzerland will definitely say no, as will Norway, Russia, most likely India. But other countries can say yes. So it sort of defeats the whole purpose of Codex having a harmonized standard, because now we'll have two different kinds of biofortified foods, one with GMOs, one without. However, the definition hasn't been fixed. You know, you may recall from when I was last on your program that there's this 8-step process to approval, and it's currently at step 4, so it's just sort of midway through. And with the chairwoman, we have a new chairwoman this year who was really pretty horrible. But what the chairwoman did is kick the can across the street, not just down the road, but across the street to another committee called the Codex Committee on Food Labeling, and get it away from this hot potato. Maybe we should call it a hot potato that she threw across the road. And then the Codex Committee, or CCFL, Codex Committee on Food Labeling, will have to deal with it. And this particular committee is hosted by the Canadian government. And what makes it so interesting is that the lobbyist who is doing the most to push this definition through, and she doesn't care if it includes GMO or not, frankly, is my old friend Dr. Ann McKenzie, who is the former chairwoman of the CCFL committee in Canada, and who actually is a very decent person. But the problem here is that she'll want it to pass no matter what, and she knows all the chair people of the new committee and the staff and all of that, so she'll be able to work her magic tenfold there and probably get it to go through up to step 8, so in final adoption. So it's nothing's really been decided, but it's not going the right way right at the moment.
And what is her interest in making sure that it encompasses everything?
Well, she's been charged with the fact, and I've known this woman for, how long now? 13 years, I think. Back when she was chairwoman of the committee, the CCFL committee. Her interest really is that, one, she gets paid to be a lobbyist for this company called Harvest Plus. I've met the CEO of that company. It's actually a good company. They've done all their biofortification through conventional plant breeding, crossbreeding. They increase the iron content of potatoes. They increase vitamin A in rice. They've increased other nutrients like in sweet potatoes. I can't recall all of them, but in any event, they've all done it through conventional means, and they're really actually pretty good people, as is Dr. McKenzie. But sort of the price of moving the ball across the finish line is to have the GMOs included for those countries who do recognize and want GMO foods involved, and to have the support of big pharma or big ag. And so that's really her interest. She doesn't care, she's been told, hey, get the ball across the 100-yard, the 1-yard line or whatever. And, if she'll do it by any legal means. She's not a dishonest person, but she'll do it by any legal means possible. And, it's really a shame because her heart is in the right place. But, the saddest thing about all of this, Joanne, is that they really it's like a solution looking for a problem, because, nutrition is a problem across the world, but they're addressing it from the wrong end. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Because if the soil had hadn't been so horribly depleted, if it hadn't been so diminished over the years, our grandparents ate apples, oranges, tomatoes, fruits, vegetables of all sorts that were far more nutritious than what we eat today, unless you're eating totally organic. And a very easy statistic to remember is that the nutrient content, vitamin, mineral content of our fruits and vegetables is diminished by 50% over the last 50 years, 50 years. Very easy statistic to remember. And that, I even had a big argument with the then chairman of the Nutrition Committee back in 2005 when he claimed, oh, no, it hasn't diminished at all. And I said, well, the American-Canadian studies sure show that it has. And so we had a big fight on the floor of the Codex meeting back in that time, 13 years ago. But in any event, I've been proven right. Well, I already was, because of the American and Canadian studies that have been done on it showing that it's diminished. So what they really need to do is replenish the soil and do correct kind of, what would you call it? Correct kind of agriculture. And there's a gentleman you might want to have on your program named David R. Montgomery, and he wrote a book called Dirt, just one word, Dirt, with the subtitle of The Erosion of Civilizations. And I think he's based up in Seattle, but he's a great guy, great speaker, sure puts me to shame. And I met him at the Food and Farmers and Ranchers Freedom Alliance meeting in Texas, North Texas, earlier this fall, and he gave a speech, unfortunately, just ahead of my own, and had a terrific PowerPoint that went with it that basically connected the dots and showed that as the soil erodes, so does the civilization, and that most civilizations, almost all of them, of the topsoil that has been farmed, and that plowing, especially on an inclined field, will result in the topsoil being eroded faster than it can be replaced. And he said there has to be a new paradigm. And basically that paradigm is that you don't plow the soil, but you do this what they call non-tillage plowing.
Okay, Scott, I need to interrupt you. We need to come back and finish that, but we need to take a break. So stay with us. This is Power Hour Radio with your host, Dr. Joanne Conaway, visiting with Scott Tips. We'll be right back.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is George Norrie from Coast to Coast AM and History Channel's Ancient Aliens, and we're proud to promote amazing energy, nutrition, and skincare products from Jeunesse. Visit GCNLife.com for products like Luminesse. The Luminesse anti-aging skincare line restores youthful vitality and radiance to your skin, reducing the appearances of fine lines and wrinkles with stem cell technology. There's also Instantly Ageless, which works within 2 minutes, reducing under-eye bags, fine lines, wrinkles, and pores. Jeunesse has products to help you with how you look and feel in a very short time. Nobel-nominated Dr. Vincent Jampapa has designed several products helping the body perform better. Jeunesse products have a 30-day money-back guarantee, and they're available up to a 25% preferred price discount. See all of the amazing Jeunesse products at GCNLife.com or call toll-free 1-844-443-6637, 1-844-443-6637.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Here is what one satisfied customer had to say about Heart and Body Extract regarding his angina pain.
I haven't had an angina pain since I've been on it. The Heart Body Extract is just so great. I thank God that I was led to this product that's doing so much for me, and that can do so much for other people.
Call to order your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know logos work because they're on everything from the top of skyscrapers to the bottom of shoes. Ever wondered why or how to best use your logo to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away the latest issue of Amplify, the digital magazine that reveals promotional product success stories absolutely free to everyone who texts UP77 to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free e-magazine will reveal invaluable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, and grow your business. Get the latest issue of Amplify absolutely free by texting UP77 to 88988. That's UP77 to 88988.
Welcome back. You're listening to Power Hour Radio with your host, Dr. Joanne Conaway, visiting this morning with Scott Tips. Scott, again, the president of the National Health Federation, and I want you to get out to the website, thenhf.com, for the National Health Federation. So, thenhf.com. So you were talking about soils, and it's interesting that you should bring up soils and how depleted the soils are. I mean, we've known since the 1930s that the minerals that are necessary in our foods that our bodies depend on are no longer in the soils. So I find it fascinating, this David Montgomery. I'd like to know more about him and more about what he's written about, and I definitely will look that up. But you were talking about how to treat the soil, how to take care of the soil.
Right, and if you till it without breaking the top cover, nature provides a very protective top cover on soil, a lot of loose grasses and fallen debris and the like. And once you break that open and expose the topsoil, which is the part that we're actually growing our crops from, you expose that to the elements, wind, rain, running water, and the like, then the ability of the soil of the topsoil to grow and replenish is put into the negative column. It can't. And he tracks that to the demise of all civilizations. That is, the time it takes for the soil to go from being healthy, nutritious, thick, plentiful, to being nothing. It takes about 200 years, roughly. Depends on where and all of that. And he specifically excludes those civilizations, such as Egypt, that evolved on a floodplain, because the periodic floods from, like, the Nile or the Euphrates River in the ancient days would bring new topsoil and new nutrients and reflood that land that was being, upon which, crops were being grown. So they are an exception. But the general rule, like in soils you'll find in most of the United States, with the exception of the Mississippi Valley, that, well, now it doesn't get flooded anymore because they have the levees and they have at least not often, and they have the dikes and they have dammed up rivers. So to zero and the civilization to then fall. And that is really, he gives an historic example about North Africa. You know, we don't realize that North Africa used to be the granary of the ancient world. I mean, in 330 BC, it saved the grain from Libya, saved the Greeks from famine. It was so well tended and all of that, at least for short-term tending. They grew plentiful crops, grain, and the like, and they would feed the citizens of Rome and keep them from rioting with the bread and circuses that were provided. And the bread came from the grain grown in Egypt and grown in the rest of North Africa. So when you think about it now and you think how pitiful the soil is, you can see the truth in what David Montgomery is talking about. Now, he's actually written 3 books, the last of which was with his co-authored with his wife. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the names of the other 2 books. Dirt was his first one, easy name to remember. Plus, it doesn't hurt that I'm holding the book in my hand as I speak. But the other books do talk about their way of making your own soil there in your own yard or your own property, how to make it and grow its topsoil back, how to replenish the topsoil. And it's a very interesting book. I think, you know, anyone who's a member of NHF gets our quarterly magazine, and in the next issue of the magazine will be a book review of that 3rd book. And in that is a very good explanation in shorthand, really, of what you do to regrow your own topsoil. So, in any event, let me see if I can find the name of that book real quickly. But any of those books are well worth reading, and I would strongly suggest that people do that, because getting kind of looping back to the main premise that I was making here was that we really need to work on the soil more than this biofortification thing. But the biofortification is more like a Band-Aid slapped on the wound, and the wound is the lack of topsoil, the lack of nutritious soil. And you know, when they put any nutrients into it, it's usually just the synthetics, and they only replace 3 of the nutrients. They don't really replace the ones that are needed. It's sort of like eating fast food at McDonald's instead of getting true nutrition. So that even then, when they fertilize the soil, they aren't really re-fertilizing it the way it should be. So there are all sorts of problems that accrue from what we do, how we do agriculture these days. But there are answers, and they're out there. And this preventing soil erosion will actually help prevent civilizations from crumbling. And I think that's the big message of his book right there. And he gives plenty of historic examples about it as well. But this is the thing with Codex, because what Codex does is it's great at slapping Band-Aids over problems, but the people there aren't deep thinkers. You know, there's an old saying, I don't know how old actually, but there's a saying that to understand bureaucracy, you have to understand that for bureaucrats, procedure is everything, and the outcome is nothing. It's of no consequence, the outcome. So this applies to all bureaucracies, and it certainly applies to Codex. You know, the chairwoman was quite content to see that we'd followed procedure. We've done this, we've dotted that I, we've crossed that T, although we really hadn't, but she could pretend that we had. And so we followed the procedure, and so if the outcome is an unhealthy one, then it doesn't really matter. It just took, you know, there were a good number of visionaries at the Codex meeting, as I mentioned. The Nepalese delegation, the Bangladesh guy was phenomenal. He really saw through to the heart of things, and he could see what the problems were. And it applied also on the follow-up formula issue that they were also discussing at that meeting, where the industry is once again trying to get a synthetic product not as healthy as breast milk to replace breast milk. And for older children, older infants, I should say, who are still being breastfed, but would not be given this.
I need to interrupt you, but that sounds like a very interesting topic. I'm definitely going to be looking into that. Thank you so much for being with us today and spending time with us and helping us get this all sorted out. This is information that we need to know. These are things that are happening to us, whether we like it or not, and we need to stay abreast of all of this. So thanks again for being with me this morning, and I'll look forward to our next visit.
Thank you, Joanne. The pleasure was mine. I appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay with us. This is Power Hour Radio. We'll be back after news and messages.
You may need this herbal tea for relief right away, so write this down. DRMILLERS clinic.com. If you take meds, then suffer stomach distress, constipation, indigestion, acid reflux, and bloating, and nothing else helps, get Dr. Miller's Holy Tea or Super Holy Tea, a cleansing, detoxifying herbal tea, now available at great rates direct from Dr. Miller's office. Call or click 888-660-7039 or DRMILLERS clinic.com.
We know you've had Dragon's Breath in the morning, but you've got to experience Dragon's Breath at night. Wolf Hill Ammo's Dragon's Breath, an incendiary shotgun round in 12-gauge, 20-gauge, and a 410 with an amazing muzzle flash and a fireball that launches up to 125 yards. Pure fun to shoot. At Wolf Hill Ammo, we love shotguns and offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market. Visit wolfhillammo.com to see our large selection of specialty shotgun ammo at great prices with flat rate shipping. wolfhillammo.com. Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective. Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10-year shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com.